What up, folks? I'm back once again doing another video game review, and this time I'm reviewing Bulls versus Blazers in the NBA playoffs. It was made by EA, and it was released for the Super Nintendo and Sega Genesis. But for the sake of this particular video, I will be reviewing the Super Nintendo version. Uh, Pretty much the premise of this particular game is it's like you play basketball with one of the eight NBA teams to make NBA playoffs in 1993, like the Bulls, Portland Trail Blazers, New York Knicks, and the like. So in total, you have really 16 teams to choose from to play a game, and the only modes that come to mind are pretty much like an exhibition mode and the playoff mode. And you can like adjust the time. It could be like 50, it could be like 12 minutes, 10 minutes, 5 minutes, or 2 minutes. I think they added more, another time for you to fiddle around with. But it's been a while since I played it. You can set the difficulty and such also. I guess like it's good to have to play the game, but there are a lot of cracks with the game that I do have in that. Number one, like I said, you play with just 16 of the known teams that existed at the time this game pretty much came out. They could have had like a lot more teams, like the Dallas Mavericks, the Detroit Pistons, the Charlotte Hornets, stuff like that. And another issue is that because of that, you're not gonna have like you're not gonna have a regular season, preseason, and stuff like that. So it should have had more modes to it. Then another issue that I have with it is that the graphic. Well, it's not an issue, but pretty much the graphics were okay at the time when it came out, but ever since this game was released, it hasn't aged particularly well, and the level design hadn't aged well neither. The controls, in my opinion, is pretty much like sluggish, and in terms of like moving the basketball players and passing, shooting, stuff like that. And another thing is that the music, the soundtrack, is practically non-existent. The only exception is the selection screen, and that, even though it was okay, that hadn't aged well, much like the controls and the graphics. Now, to be truthful, it's not the worst game that EA put out in terms of basketball game, of that when it comes to like basketball games, that it's just that like there's better games for Super Nintendo and Sega Genesis. That's like that's pretty much the NBA Live games that was like released. Because it was like for 64, Super Nintendo. Nintendo, Sega Genesis, PS1, stuff like that. But I think without this particular game, there wouldn't have been a live series to begin with, in my opinion. You know, it's just that there was better basketball games out there to play, even though it's not the worst basketball game. So far as a score, I will give it like a 5 because the game is pretty mediocre, and like in terms of how many games you can put, how many teams you can play with, it could be like a pretty short experience for you to play, you know. So with that being said, if you played this game before, or even if you enjoy Bulls versus Blazers in the NBA playoffs, you can mention it in the comment section. Don't forget to click the thumbs up button if you like this review, and don't forget to subscribe. This is your boy Big Metroid Fan 12 signing off.